Hi, I'm Dina. This is Lindsay. And I'm going to answer the most frequent question that I usually get is, how did you lose your arm? So, here goes. well, I was in a car with my best friend at the time, and we were driving down 295 in New Jersey. Hello. And as we were driving, now I don't really remember what happened, but I do remember my lawyer showing me the paperwork that the police officers gave to him, and it said that my friend was smoking. We both smoke, and he dropped his cigarette in his lap. So, as he was freaking out and starting to pat it out, we ran off the road. And ran off the road going 65 miles an hour, hit three trees, two guardrails, and a chain link fence as we flipped 5 times. Now, since I was the passenger, my arm went out the window as we flipped and got cut off. Um, I don't really, like I said, I don't remember it. All that I do remember is coming to a stop, and somehow we managed to stop upright on all four wheels, and I was like, whoa. I looked over at my friend. He was fine. And I looked to my right. Didn't have an arm. Um, it was I felt like for every heartbeat that I had, I was squirting out blood. So automatically, without even thinking, of course, I just grabbed it to stop the blood, looked back over at my friend, and was like, "Where's my arm?" And he started to cry and just replied, tears in his eyes, "I don't know." So that's the first thing that I remember, is just coming to a stop and grabbing my arm and asking him. After that, I passed out. I woke up in the helicopter, and I remember automatically once again going to grab my arm to stop the blood once again. Didn't work because my arm was strapped down, and I just remember kind of coming to and being like, oh, and looking at the guy, and he of course had those earphones on and everything, and I looked at him and remember being like, "Is so and so okay?" And he was like, "Yes, yes, your friend's all right." And I was like, "Okay, where's my arm?" And he was like, "Don't worry, we have your arm. It'll be okay." And then my third question was, "Can I have something for the pain?" Yeah. And he was like, "Yes, yes, you can have something for the pain." And they shot me up with, God knows, morphine probably, and passed out again. So after that, I woke up maybe a week, 2 weeks later, probably a week in ICU. And apparently, I had been waking up constantly, like every few hours, and every single time I woke up, the first question that I asked was, "Is so and so okay?" I'm not going to say his name. Is so and so okay? And they would constantly have to tell me, "Yes, he's okay, he's okay." And then I remember being like, "Is my arm okay?" Like, obviously, I was too out of it to even be able to look down to my right to see that they reattached my arm. Now, I had my arm reattached for 1 year, 7 months, and 2 days. Um, and I had been through 21 surgeries. The 22nd surgery, they took my arm off again. I had caught MRSA in the hospital, MRSA, due to obviously one of the nurses or doctors did not wash their hands thoroughly enough, so it didn't really work well for me because there wasn't a day that went by where my arm was not oozing pus and blood, and it didn't look good. And it hurt. It hurt a lot. So thankfully, when I finally got my arm taken off, it really didn't even bother me that much. Not at all. I was so thankful that it had finally gotten taken off. That way I didn't have to deal with the pain anymore. I didn't have to deal with the way that it looked, because it was constantly stuck in like this position, and there was nothing I could do about it. The only amount that I could move my arm was basically about an inch, and my wrist only moved about that much. And it takes apparently a millimeter a day or an inch a month for your nerves to regrow. So, since my arm was obviously taken off right here, it took about 3 months for me to start being able to move my elbow again, about a year for me to start moving my wrist, and then a year and 4 months or so for me to even start to twitch my fingers. And I thought it was progress. I thought it was good, but it didn't it didn't work out the way that I thought. So that's basically part of my story. There's a lot more that went on, but that's kind of like the small of it. So I'd love to hear if anyone else has any stories about how they lost a limb. It's really interesting to hear what other people have to say about it or what other people think. Yeah, so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed. So have a good one.